Welcome back to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols. I've got Vince Carter. I'm hanging out with Brian Windhorst. It's a good day. Let's talk about the power of Damian Lillard, people, because it is absolute in the state of Oregon. On Tuesday, Dame tweeted in response to Portland not being allowed by local authorities to have any fans in the stands so far this season. He said, quote, "So we're going to be the only damn team in the whole league with no fans?" To which Jared Dudley replied, "Definitely not right. When we played Utah, they had like 8,000-9,000 in the arena. I bet they get 12,000-14,000 for the playoffs. Can't have that wide a range. I know NBA hands are tied, but there's definitely a competitive advantage, especially since Portland has no fans." Well, guess what? According to the Oregonian, the Blazers will reportedly be now allowed to host 10% of crowd capacity starting on Friday. Dame was asked about it last night. Here is what he said.
Dame, I just wanted to get your thoughts on having fans back in the arena for Friday's game, and I'm curious if you felt like your tweet had anything to do with it.
I'm super excited. You know, I think our record is much better on the road for a reason. You know, we come in these other buildings and just having that fan energy, you know, that real energy in the building, it feels like a competitive NBA game when the crowd is there, and it's fun. You know, it feels normal. You know, it's how the game is supposed to be played. And then we come home and it's just an empty, dead building. You know, it's a noticeable difference. Like, you can feel it. And, you know, each game that we played at home, and I think you can also see it. So I'm excited to have our fans back, especially.
Brian, you heard Dame refer to it. They are 21-13 on the road, but only 500 at home. And look, a lot of this is, as Jared Dudley referred to, it's state regulations. The NBA doesn't decide how many people are in every building. But what was your reaction to Dame's poll there? One tweet, and look what happened.
I wonder if Jared Dudley is happy that they're starting it against his Lakers. Maybe he should have asked to wait until next week. But, you know, one of the reasons that the Blazers aren't so good at home is because they're not a great defensive team. However, I respect that the guys want energy. And regardless about whether there's 2,000 fans or 4,000 fans in the building and how it compares in the sound or whatever, it's going to uplift the players. And that energy for the players is what they're looking for. And look, Portland has always been one of the toughest places to play. They've had a winning record at home year after year after year, even when they haven't had good teams. So the fact that they have struggled at home, obviously there's something there. And so Dame is probably onto something. And I would watch out, Lakers, on Friday.
I was one of the guys that said from the bubble and in the beginning of the season, this is an opportunity for players to lock in to their craft and what they need to do and don't have to worry about the outside interference. Then you think about it a little more. After calling a game, not playing, calling the game in an empty building, I'm like, you have to find your own energy. And like he said, it's just dead in there. And it's nothing like having fans. And it's nothing like playing in your home building when you're on a run against a very good team. It's nothing like being on the road and they're booing you and talking bad and you go in there and shoot the deep three and go for 42. It's nothing like it. And he said it. It's dead. And we should have it. And it's a disadvantage for us. And now they get that opportunity, especially hosting a Laker team that's coming in the building.
And it's tough. There really isn't a great solution here, right? State governments are going to do what they think is best for the health of their citizens. There's different COVID rates in every state. There's different vaccination rates in every state. I will tell fans of a team that the states that we have seen follow allowing greater fans in the building are often states that have high vaccination rates. So I think that as teams encourage their fans to get vaccinated, that could be something that could then circle back and have a positive effect on the team as well. All right, guys, let's take a look at today's magic moment, brought to you by Walt Disney World Resort. The Atlanta Hawks outscoring the Suns 38-15 in the fourth quarter to run away with that win last night. They've now picked up consecutive wins over the Blazers and Suns. They trailed the Knicks by just a half a game in the 4 spot in the East. Vince, you did, in fact, call that game last night. How dangerous are your old Atlanta Hawks?
I tell you what, man, it's a proud moment for me. You know, coming in 2 years ago, and we were just trying to build, and we're going to make the playoffs. We just have to build for it. And to now see everything come to fruition and seeing these young guys develop, seeing Trae Young turn into an unbelievable point guard. We knew he could score. We knew he could pass, but it's just understanding how to play the position. Now, with that being said, the bench, hats off to the organization of going to get some scoring, some shooting, and has opened the floor up and made the game easier for their starters. It was a point where the score was 4-16. 4 to 16. And then, your starters with Trae Young playing 26 minutes only. And the bench went crazy. 74 bench points to Suns 36. That says it all. And if they can play like this, having confidence going into the playoffs, look out, because some teams might not want to play the Atlanta Hawks.
This is a hell of a roster. They've got talent up and down. When they bring in their second unit at the end of the first quarter, they're bringing like big-time dudes off the bench. It's hard to face that kind of onslaught. And then you got Trae, who's one of the most electric players in the league. And they're still missing DeAndre Hunter, who's in the process of having a breakout second year. We'll see if he's able to get back. But this is a team that is going to be a tough out in the playoffs. And I'm just anxious really to see Trae Young because, I don't know how he's such a wizard at drawing these fouls. I don't know how the officials are going to let him play in the postseason. But this is a guy who can score 45 at the drop of a hat, and he could be electrifying. And so I can't wait to see the Hawks in the postseason.
But, Wendy, the beautiful thing about it, I think if he does struggle in the playoffs as far as not getting those calls, the beautiful thing about it is having all the shooting. You have 5 guys, if I'm not mistaken, that has playoff experience. But having all of that shooting, if he can get off the ball when he's struggling or it gets double teamed and those guys start to shoot the ball like they did last night, things will progress for Trae, and you'll see a breakout playoff experience for him instead of a rough one like, it's possible if he doesn't get those calls.
Well, we had Clint Capella on the show yesterday. He's leading the league in rebounds. It just feels like things are finally clicking at the right time for that team. And Vince, I'm going to credit it all to you. I'm just going to say your leadership in the locker room, the advice you gave those growing young minds when you were there. I think you're responsible, and we'll just see how far that goes in the postseason.
And I understood it takes time for it to all sink in, and it's sinking in.
Yes, absolutely.
When I leave.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.